Hello everyone and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Love. Yes, thankfully the camera is now working again, no longer just in black and white. But thank you all for joining me today on the podcast. I'm here for your AEW Dynamite review for March 8th, 2023 edition. The following show from AEW Revolution, which was a fun pay-per-view. For those who have not checked it out, it's up on the channel currently. So if you haven't checked that out, you can click this subscription, or you can just find it on the podcast. Say Joe and Love. Yeah. Just that as well, but alas, thank you. AEW Dynamite was a good flowing episode. The flow of the show, just how it was paced was very good. Yeah, and next Wednesday, Dynamite's in Canada. So, got that to look forward to, and which I have already made some unique matches for next week. As far as trio titles, and now the AEW International title. So, might as well. And we also have a new TNT champion. Again, PowerHouse Hobbs is now the new TNT champion, defeating Wardlow in the Falls Count Anywhere match for the main event. Wardlow got robbed the night before, lost his stuff, and lost his bags, lost his title. Now he's no longer the TNT champ. I mean, look, I'm happy for Hobbs because, happy for him because he's won his first singles title, and doesn't seem like that momentum from winning the ladder match, because it was relatively booking into a corner, and Hobbs, thankfully for him, he followed up winning the Face of Revolution ladder match with the TNT title victory on Wednesday. Wardlow, I mean, it's hard to say, because look, he has the look, he can talk well, he's skillful in the ring. So, I mean, just going back to last year, after winning the Face of Revolution ladder match, helping CM Punk beat MJF, that feud with MJF, I mean, they really dropped the ball with his momentum. They just really dropped the ball, and I don't know how to say it, and it sucks because he's a guy that can relatively help make money and could potentially be the one to take the title off MJF when the time is right, because that story is there with Wardlow and MJF, but I don't know. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe this was Wardlow's call to lose the title so quickly after beating Samoa Joe at Revolution. I mean, maybe it was, but I mean, just his momentum, how he's lost it, and, you know, just where it go, I don't know. It's just unfortunate. I don't know what other way to say. Now, the one bright side, it seems, from Hobbs win the title is perhaps, just perhaps, it opens the door for some of these other marquee babyfaces that are looking for a direction to go for a title, but, you know, MJF's not losing the world title anytime soon, so it can certainly open the door for, say, well, Ricky Starks, his direction seems to have taken a glimpse on Wednesday, but Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, perhaps him. I mean, you got Takeshita. I mean, you got a bunch of guys who look at it. So, we'll see. We'll see. But, alas, well, let's get into the review now, shall we? Let's get into it. Touch up on everything else a bit. So, we got Orange Cassidy for Jay Lethal, and what was the final match for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship, in which it was rebranded later in the show. So, now, this is a trilogy. This match was asked for after Lethal and Jeff Jarrett were unsuccessful in that four-way match, along with OC and Danhausen against the Guns and the Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And, you know, this is a trilogy, this match. I mean, look, it wasn't bad. Love OC and love Jay Lethal. But, I mean, the fact is that there's a lot of talent that could be used that hasn't been used on this roster. So, it's a little suspect why we're seeing a trilogy on AEW television. Just from my perspective. But this match was fine. You know, primary solutions of match or targets of match. Lethal was targeting Cassidy's knee, delivered a devastating dragon screw on the apron. Cassidy focused on the shoulder of Jay Lethal, excuse me, and this was another match. Lethal went for figure four, multiple times. Cassidy got out of it. OC a diving DT for two. OC went for an orange punch, but was countered by Lethal for near fall. Lethal went for one final lethal injection, but his shoulder gave out, and OC hit the orange punch. 1, 2, 3, and OC retains. Like I said, love them both. They've had two very good matches prior to this, but with the roster, it's a little suspect. Why we need a trilogy, especially on Dynamite. Ricky Starks. So, actually, before I get into Ricky Starks, I will mention about the AEW International Championship. So, Tony Khan announced later in the show that the title of Orange Cassidy will now be rebranded as the AEW International Championship. So, next week will be the first defense of the AEW International Championship between Orange Cassidy and Jeff Jarrett, which I don't agree with, but the match. So, taking a step. So, if the championship being rebranded means that we get less of the title on AEW television, perhaps, maybe on more international soil, because next week they're going to be going to Canada, so we'll see. But this is a way for AEW to be represented in other promotions. And I'm certainly good with that. Just hope, because it just being defended on AEW Dynamite and Rampage is not great. It's not great for what this title seems to be about. And with it being rebranded may be a help for AEW and kind of clear things up for, say, the TNT because the fact is that All-Atlantic title has kind of taken away luster of the TNT title and the AEW World title a bit. So, we'll see, but as far as the name and what it could mean, I'm obviously behind it. Now, Ricky Starks. So, he was out there over his victory over Chris Jericho. Tell me what's next for him. He doesn't know. But the real question is where he's going next. And then we hear the Bullet Club intro for the theme song. And we see the logo on the big screen. It certainly caught the people in attendance by surprise. And then Juice Robinson. He heads out there, hits Ricky Starks with a big right hand, lays him out with DT, and lays over Ricky Starks. So it seems maybe a feud with Ricky Starks and Juice Robinson, or a feud with the Bullet Club. Now, the Bullet Club, last I checked, they're primarily with Impact, and of course there's New Japan Strong in the States. So maybe Ricky goes to New Japan Strong, if not New Japan. Feud with Juice Robinson, I don't know, but look, if it's something new and if it keeps Stark's momentum going, because that's what we need as we continue to, because again, he's the guy, like I said on Sunday, or it was actually Monday, but which was uploaded on Tuesday, but nonetheless, what I said about Revolution, Starks is one of those guys that you absolutely need to keep his momentum going, because he is a star, on the mic and in the ring, and people love to see him. So we'll see how it goes, but I can kinda get behind, but again, with all the talent on the roster, it's I'm a little suspect about it at first, but we'll see how it goes. Ruby Soho. Now, first off, I must say that as I listen to her theme song, she doesn't sound like a heel. That's just me when it comes to a theme, but nonetheless, Ruby Soho, she was out there with Toni Storm and Saraya right before her match with Skye Blue, and she laid out an explanation that we've been waiting for from Toni Storm and Saraya for weeks, in which Ruby Soho mentioned how fans were dying for, or pretty much clamoring for, her comeback and Saraya's. And as soon as it happened, fans jumped on her, and Toni Storm's been kind of outcast since day one, and she brought up how last year in, I believe it was the TBS style tournament, or one of the tournaments against Chris Statlander, she beat Chris, and then she got booed loudly because that's how over Chris Statlander is, and I hope she gets back soon. And she brought up, how the fans kind of turned on her a bit, and that's why she's aligned with Toni Storm and Saraya, who they've been outcast. Now, I love the explanation. Much needed. The spray paint is not needed for Toni Storm, Saraya, Russo, but that's just the thing. Nonetheless, great promo by Russo. Much needed. Now, her match with Skye Blue was decent, I guess. I mean, just coming off that promo, pretty much. Anyway, she beat Skye Blue. I believe it was Willow Nightingale. I mean, I kind of cut out the match, but who came out and they sprayed Skye Blue, and as her went down. So, yep, great promo by Russo. Pretty simple. Next up, and we got a good amount of promos and sound bites from Revolution, which made this one of the reasons why the show flowed very well. Hangman Page, he said he was backstage with Renee Paquette saying, well, he's done with Moxley, but he's simply he's not afraid. He wasn't afraid to go to hell with him. And, Hangman had a shiner on, his right. I think it might have been his left eye, but nonetheless, that war with Moxley was something on Revolution. So there's that. MJF. He announced after Revolution that great Iron Man match, which, by the way, he posted a picture online that saying he had a hematoma and the blood trickled down to his eye, but nonetheless, he's okay. And he announced that in the promo, but next week is his birthday. And he plans to have his re-bar mitzvah in Canada. So, see how that goes on. FTR. Boy, is it good to see FTR back. As they return at Revolution after that tag team title match. So, So they touted about their return and talk about the Guns, saying how it's been a hard last couple of months, losing to the Acclaimed, losing to the Guns, losing all their titles, losing one of their best friends in the wrestling world, Jay Briscoe, which got a nice chant from the crowd. So they talked about the Guns, saying how it's time for them to win again the AEW Tag Team titles, and that they are spoiled, little, entitled assholes. And that and Cash said that what his father taught him best was how to fight and how to man up. And saying how they'll teach the Guns what Billy Gunn should have taught him before. And they actually said top guys out. So, great promo by FTR. It's a weird dynamic because you got the Guns, you got FTR, you got the Acclaimed. And this story with the Guns and the Acclaimed feels incomplete. So, I don't know. We'll see. Jade Cargill. This promo was So Renee Paquette was boasting about her undefeated record. Jade touted out she's beat everyone in AEW, which is laughable because we know she hasn't. She hasn't beat relatively anyone of the top tier, really, in AEW. Thunder Rosa, Russo, okay, but So she welcomed the challenger next week in Canada, see what Canada's best has for her. So we'll see. So we got the JS, Jericho, Guevara, and Garcia versus Top Flight and Ara Fox, the trios match. Pretty good for the time it was given. Fox hit a cutter on Jericho for a near fall. He followed up with a dive on everyone on the outside. Pretty simple, kind of chaotic. Jericho hit a Juice Effect for the win. And afterwards, they declared themselves the number one contenders for the Trios Championships. So they called out House of Black. Jericho said to do one of the greatest entrances in AEW or wrestling history and get their butts out of here. So the lights went off. But then we hear Carry On Wayward Son, and it's not House of Black. It's the Elite. So it's like, this is interesting with Canada, next week. So, Kenny Omega took the microphone, telling how, for the last few years they've stayed out of their business and vice versa. And they thought it was by mutual respect. But when it comes to the Trios Championships, then Don Callis ran out there, took the microphone from Kenny Omega and said, "Let me handle this." So Callis said, based on what happened at Revolution, the number one contenders are the Elite and not the JS. Then tell it that Chris Jericho is the second best wrestler from Winnipeg. Saying Omega's number one. Then tell it that if he had a couple months to train, Jericho would be number 3. So Jericho called them out to get their asses in the ring. They started walking down the rampway. Then all of a sudden the lights go out again. House of Black appears on the big screen. They said no need to fight, saying that they're all deserving of getting humiliated in their hometown. So he said, next week if you want these. Lights go out again. House of Black appears on the ramp. Malachi says, "Come get him." And lights go out again and they disappear. So I will say the lights going out is a bit overdone. Just a bit overdone, I think we can say. And it was confirmed that next week in Canada there will be a triple threat trios championship match between the JS, the Elite, and the House of Black. Which, 9 guys, so it's going to be a chaotic mess. But, as long as the House of Black retains, I don't have a problem with it. Really too much. But I will say they kind of rushed this. Because honestly, could have had Kenny Omega versus Jericho, since in Canada. Could have had just the Elite versus JS. That would have been fine too. But to rush this is, I will say that's my problem right now with it, is that's the only thing. But we'll see, I guess. So we got Bryan Danielson, soundbite from his Iron Man match. Very emotional. He talked about, they showed pictures of him with his kids and how MJF said, well, he's gonna beat Danielson up so bad that he won't be able to play with his kids anymore. And that got him thinking, very emotional. And then he said it's time for him to go home. So, I mean, Bryan's been on a roll pretty much to start the year. I mean, his matches with the match he had with Takeshita, the match he had with Brian Cage, Timmy Thatcher, Roosh. I mean, leading into the match with MJF. I mean, it's been on a roll to start this year. I mean, if he needs to take a break, he needs to take a couple months to be with his family. All for it. And then him being back around the summer. I mean, for Forbidden Door. I mean, as long as he can miss Double or Nothing, as far as I'm concerned, as long as he's back for Forbidden Door and he's in like a huge match with either, Okada, Ospreay, etc., then I'm for that. Although it may turn out to be Omega versus Ospreay rematch. So next up, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus the Dark Order. This was a decent match here. Alex Reynolds and Silvers, of course, both very good. Kind of continuing this feud, basically with Hangman, I guess. But, the feud really kind of started with the Battle Royal that was last week, and the Dark Order being ambushed by the Blackpool Combat Club. And what really happened after the match, I think, was mostly significant because Moxley choked out Alex Reynolds for the win. Kind of a Anaconda choke or a Darth choke. But he held on to the choke well after the bell. And, it took, Silvers and Evil Uno came out there and they were just, being down on the Dark Order, very heel-like manner from the Blackpool Combat Club. Pretty sounding like they are turning heel in the Blackpool Combat Club, which, I'm up for. Moxley can't do it. Claudio, we've seen him be a heel before in WWE. Utah, I'm not sure, but so I'm curious what this means for Bryan Danielson then, if they're gonna still talk about him as if he's still in the group, on commentary at least. So I don't know. I don't know what he thinks it is, but I'm up for it. The Acclaim, they were backstage. Cool Hands, Angelo Parker, and Matt Menard were trying to recruit the Acclaimed for the JS, and they just laughed them off. Billy Gunn too, and I mean, I've said for weeks, Matt Menard and Angel Barker should be doing more with how entertaining they are, but the Acclaimed, they're not just in a weird position. They're going to be in action on Rampage, so I don't know. Then we got the main event. Wardlow vs. PowerHouse Hobbs. Falls Count Anywhere for TNT Championship. This was very good. Only way to win by knockout, pinfall, or submission. But yeah, this is good. Obviously, with Wardlow pretty much getting robbed in his rental car, or his rental car getting robbed of his stuff. The way they orchestrated this into it made for a very telling match, and the way main event. So they started in the parking lot, started brawling near a car. Hobbs was his suplex on the trunk of the car, and Wardlow actually dumped Hobbs onto the windshield. So there was that. So eventually, after commercial break, after hitting each other with carts and stuff, they brawl back toward the ringside area. Back in the ring. Wardlow at F5 or F10 for near fall. Hobbs fired back with a big spine buster for 2. Wardlow, he was sent to the barricade. And then I looked at the time and I was kind of curious what was going to go down. So Wardlow, I don't think this spot was needed, especially if Hobbs was going to go over. I'm not sure if this is much needed, but Hobbs got hit with a swanton bomb by Wardlow off the top through a table, but only for a near fall. So Hobbs got hit with a power bomb on the rampway, which kind of injured Wardlow in the process. So they fought near the stage area. Wardlow was about to powerbomb Hobbs off the stage onto, it seemed like, I don't know, area full of it didn't look great. I don't know. So anyway, so he was about to powerbomb Hobbs, and then all of a sudden we see a shot with a chair to Wardlow in the back, and it's announced it's Ricky QT Marshall. QT Marshall decided to assault Wardlow with the chair, him with 2 shots over the head, and assisted Hobbs in dumping Wardlow off the stage onto his area. Wardlow was unable to beat the count, and PowerHouse Hobbs won the TNT Championship thanks to QT Marshall. Now, the finish is the thing that I think has people a bit confused. So, QT Marshall, the surprise. I mean, Taz brought up something that was like a year ago, or almost a year ago, between Hobbs and QT Marshall. So, I mean, it's surprising. So, is Marshall going to be mentoring Hobbs? I don't know. But it was certainly a question to finish, but they certainly went with it with Hobbs win the title. And congrats to him for winning his first title in AEW. But this is the fourth title change in 3 months. Or 2.5 months. Joe lost to Darby, won it back, lost to Wardlow. Now Hobbs is the new TNT champion, so congrats to him. Wardlow, I don't know how they fix this guy. Again, they dropped the ball. Tony Khan and who else? They're the ones, they really dropped the ball with this momentum last year. Now, I don't know, maybe it was Wardlow's idea. Drop the title so soon. But, the way his momentum is just collapsed is not good. Not good. But we'll see. Hopefully with now just has me shaking my head because Samoa Joe was a credible heel champion. And looking at the spoilers, I can see why they did it. To put him on Ring of Honor. And which suspect to me, but nonetheless. Now Hobbs, TNT champion, a credible heel, which can hopefully we can build the title back to prominence that it was a couple years ago. We'll see. But at least it's on a heel, I guess, in the fact that now some of these credible baby faces can go after and kind of clear up some of the smoke in AEW. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll see. But nonetheless, thank you for joining me. Of course, click that subscribe button at the bottom of the page, as well as the like button. Leave a like, leave a thumbs up. Help out video, help out channel. But alas, thank you all. Again, if you have not seen my AEW Revolution review, it's on the channel, posted on Tuesday, so you can find it as well. Of course, with this AEW Dynamite review. I'll see you guys next week. I am Joe Love. Get out of here. Peace.